Hi everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. We're going to deviate a little bit from the math that we've been doing and we're going to look at cooking math. Okay, sometimes you find a recipe and you have all the ingredients, but you don't have one of the really important ingredients in the right quantity. So you have to change the amounts of everything else that you're going to use if you want to stick to that recipe. So, or maybe sometimes you just want to make a different amount of that recipe. For instance, I found this great recipe for almond encrusted salmon, added some bacon because let's be honest, everything's better with bacon. But they're creating it for 2 salmon fillets, and I want to make it for 5 salmon fillets. So I'm going to have to change the amount of everything that I'm going to use. Now, the way that we're going to change how much we use is by using what's called a conversion ratio. So it's supposed to be for 2, but I want to make it with 5. So my conversion ratio is going to be 5 over 2. Now I'm going to take that and I'm going to multiply it by everything that I'm going to end up using. So it was for 2. I want to end up with 5. I'm going to use 5. Okay. Now, egg whites, same thing. Okay. I want to do 5 over 2. And I'm going to multiply that by how many egg whites I'm supposed to use, which is 2. So multiply that by 2 and I'll put the 2 over 1, multiply straight across, get 10 over 2, which reduces down to just 5. Okay, and we'll do the same thing with each of these ingredients. So 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, put that over 1 times 5 over 2, and we get 5 halves. Now, you're probably not going to sit there and count out 5 half teaspoons of anything. That'd be a big waste of time. So we'll change this. We'll say 2 and 1/2 teaspoons. Okay, same thing for this 1 tablespoon. 1 over 1. Multiply by that conversion ratio of 5 halves. We'll get 5 halves, but we're not going to keep it as 5 halves. We're going to rewrite this as 2 and 1/2 tablespoon. Okay, now teaspoon with the lowercase t, TSP, tablespoon, capital T, BSP. Now it's important to know the difference. You're going to end up with some funky tasting food. There's my kids getting hungry in the back. I'm working on it. Okay, so now I've got 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger times 5 halves is going to give me 5 over 4, which would be 1 and 1/4 teaspoon. Okay, same thing for the cayenne pepper. Okay, 1/2 teaspoon times the 5 half ratio, and that's going to give me 5 over 4, which will be 1 and 1/4 teaspoon of the cayenne pepper. Okay, and lastly, the ground almonds. Okay, 1/2 cup times 5 over 2 is going to be 5 half cups, or 5 quarter cups, which is going to be 1 and 1/4 cup. Okay, now we're going to take these components in these quantities. There's my dogs. Now we're going to put them together. We're going to make us some great fish. Okay, we've got the ingredients all measured out. Now we're going to mix them together and see what happens. Okay, so first off, they said to separate out the egg whites. So I already did that. Okay, and I got 5 egg whites in this bowl. Okay, and we're going to add the 2.5 teaspoons of lemon juice. Okay, the 2.5 tablespoons of dried cilantro flakes, the 1.5 tablespoon of ground ginger, excuse me, that was 1.25 tablespoon of ground ginger, and 1.25 tablespoon of cayenne pepper. Okay, and we mix that all together. Now, this is going to serve as the base. Okay, so we're going to dip each of the salmon fillets in here, okay, and then we're going to dip them into the bacon and almonds. Okay, mix those all together. This stuff right here with the egg whites, this is what causes the bacon and the almonds to stick to the fish. Okay? All right, so here we go. First, you take one of the salmon fillets, dip it in this stuff, and roll it in the bacon and almonds. Okay, we want to make sure we get a real nice coating on there. Okay, so maybe take it over, pat some on top. Okay, do it again, dip it in there, and make sure you get a real nice coating on there. And we're going to do this for all 5 fillets. Okay, so in the interest of time, I'm not going to do all 5 of them for you to see. So the video says that we're supposed to bake it at 450 degrees for, I think it was 10 to 15 minutes, but I'm much more inclined to grill. It's a nice day outside. It's way too hot to turn the oven on. So we're going to grill these instead. Now, if you're going to grill fish, I recommend you put some foil down on top of the grill. Okay, fish can get flaky and it can stick. It's very difficult to remove from the grill plate. So you end up with a dirty grill and you end up losing a lot of your fish. So got the aluminum foil down. Okay, and we are going to now put these on the grill. You want to make sure you wait long enough for that grill to get up to temperature. You don't want to throw it on right away, or you're going to be waiting forever and let it cook unevenly. And secondly, we're going with indirect heat on these. Now, what that means is I got a 3-burner grill here. I have this side is burning and this side is burning, but the one in the middle that's right underneath those fish, that's not actually on right now. So we're cooking from the sides. You can do the same thing with charcoal. You just, once the pile is lit, you just move the coals out to the edge and you put your meat that you're cooking in the middle. Okay, now we're going to close this and just let the heat do its thing. So the guideline is 10 to 15 minutes, but the catch is 5 minutes on a grill cooking for continuously for that 5 extra minutes can take you all the way from undercooked to completely burnt. So with fish, it's a little bit tricky. You got to keep an eye on. Now, one thing you want to watch for with fish, and a really good indicator is if it starts to flake. Fish is pretty goopy meat. So if you look at it and you can see that it's still pretty goopy and it's mushy when you put a fork on it, that's how you know it's not yet done. Okay, when it starts to flake with the fork, that's how you know that it's fully cooked. Okay, I didn't feel super confident holding the laptop over top of the grill while I filmed. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you right here what I mean by flaking. So if you look really closely at this, okay, and you start to pick at some of the meat a little bit, okay, you'll see instead of it being goopy, you can hopefully see right there it's flaking apart. That's how you know that the fish is done.